Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. So I've got some bad news. We got T-boned. This actually happened a couple weeks ago when we were in New Orleans, but yeah, I just haven't done a video about it yet. We're kind of putting it off. It just didn't feel right, but I wanted to let you guys know. Obviously we're okay. Taylor was in the passenger seat when it happened, so she got like quite a bit of a fright. And yeah, as you can see here, Connie is kind of dented up on the door there. Whoops, spell over. And also the wheel arch here, which kind of sucks. Yeah, what happened was we were going through an intersection. We had a green light and someone ran a red coming from the other direction, I guess. And yeah, hit our side. They didn't seem to slow down or brake, but I think that might have been going slow. And that's why it's like not too bad. I'll give you a closer look in a minute. But yeah, we're okay, which is awesome. Taylor had like a little bit of pain in her arm, some kind of like whiplash thing for like a couple days, but it was only very minor, and I was fine, which was great. The back, I wish I took a photo. The back was absolutely trashed. There was just like basically everything that was anywhere was now somewhere else, and mostly on the floor, which made it really difficult to like sort things out after the accident. Oh, I forgot to mention, we also this tire got pierced and the rim got destroyed, and the hubcap, obviously. I think that's kind of what saved us, though. I think, well, it saved the body a bit more, because I think the tire took a lot of the blow, and I guess it probably like helped like reduce the impact a little bit. The other car was pretty messed up, but they still drove it home, so I think, it's still drivable, and it didn't look like a rider for anything like that. We're insured, which is good. So yeah, we can't open this door from the inside anymore. Taylor can. She can like reach her hand in, but I can't get my hand in. And this door was actually already had some kind of issue in that when you unlock with the keys, like the, whatever you call that. I can't even think what it's called. When you unlock it, it actually doesn't unlock this door. So to be honest, of all the places we could have got hit, this is probably the best place in that regard, because yeah, this door already had issues, and somehow like the front didn't get hit. The front door is fine. It's got like a little scratch on it, but nothing that is like a problem for us. So yeah, we lucked out there. But then, as I was sort of mentioned before, although the door took a lot of it, this sort of plastic, and then the wheel arch behind there is a bit dented up too. I'm not too sure like what. I think they can fix it. I mean, the door, you just put another door on probably, and then that they probably can just pull it out somehow, and then obviously just a new tire, a new rim, and we'll be set. So we had to do go through the insurance and all that, and we think the insurance quoted the job. It's going to be like almost $3,000 anyway. But luckily our excess is only like $500, so if we have to do it through our insurance, it's going to be like $500, but it should be covered by the other party's insurance, because they were at fault. So fingers crossed that all sorts itself out soon. Yeah, so sort of the aftermath of that is, I just forgot if I locked that door. Let me go just see if I closed the door. Look at our neighbour, by the way. Isn't that nice? Oh yeah, I closed it, it's all good. Yeah, so the aftermath of the accident has been that I'm too scared to drive. Like, I don't want to drive at all, because like I don't want to mess Taylor's van up. I'm allowed to drive here, it's not a problem, but like I just don't want that sort of like responsibility anymore. And Taylor understands. It's like, kind of freaked me out a bit, and she doesn't really want to drive too much either. I mean, obviously we've come down here now, we're in Florida now, you guys know that, so we still had to do that. But I sort of made some ground rules, like we didn't drive at night, and we very little, like one time, but I didn't want to, so that sort of like felt a bit safer. And You know, we try to stay just like on the highways. Like, I don't know, to me it seems like the safest places to drive in the US probably are the big highways. Everyone just kind of knows what they're doing. And now that we're here, we're not really driving at all. The most driving that I've done, I have driven a little bit, has just been from like the lot here on the beach over to the streets just to park somewhere. I'll just move away because that guy has music on. Yeah, so I mean, okay, I have driven, but it's only been like less than a mile. And you know, I'm okay with a little bit like that. I just don't want to really drive to the shops and stuff. I think the most we've driven Connie in the last 2 weeks was to actually take her to get inspected, I guess, to look at the jobs that needed doing on her and get the quote for the insurance company. So aside from that, it was a few days ago, we haven't done anything really, I guess, except from driving out of the lot, which is quite noisy, and over to the street somewhere for street parking at night. I just realized I have music on. I better just check it's not in the video. No, we're good, it's not in the video. So yeah, it's just been a bit of an eye-opener. I've seen some pretty bad accidents while I've been here in the US, and we haven't been involved in any, but this is the first that we've been involved in. It might even be the first I've been personally involved in as well. I think I'm 27. And yeah, it's just like, yeah, a bit of an eye-opener. Hey, like it's like the roads are a dangerous place, you know, like dangerous for cyclists, dangerous for drivers, and yeah, people die like on them every day. And it's just like the idea of van life, I think I hadn't really considered too much the fact that I would be spending like more time, I guess, exposed on the roads. So yeah, it's just like something I've like started reflecting on, like does that affect my like wanting to live in a van? And definitely at first it did, because I was just so freaked out. But I think now that I've settled a little bit, now that I'm more comfortable to make a video about it, I'm like, it's kind of like one of those pros and cons things, I guess. You know, like imagine getting your van. Like I know there's like YouTubers, and I'm sure there's plenty of people that have had their vans that they've built out written off, you know, and just imagine putting months, if not years of work into something like that, just to have it destroyed by like someone's mistake or your mistake. That would just be insane. So that's like one thing that makes me think like, damn, do I want to put like so much effort into something to like when there's a possibility of it being damaged or destroyed? And I think the answer is probably still a yes, because you know, like the journey of doing that is still, you know, that's still like something in itself. But it's your home, you know, it's like it's supposed to be your safe place, and the idea that it's not that safe, it's kind of like a little bit unsettling for me, you know. And I think that's part of why we haven't driven her much lately. It's because we just want her to be in a place where we don't have to worry about it. Taylor doesn't want to have to worry about any more, you know, like any engine problems. We had some like engine issues back in Kansas as well, and you know, she doesn't want to have to stress about driving on the roads, and I'm certainly the same. But I don't know if I've told you about some of the accidents we've seen, but we had a guy coming the opposite direction to us back in Kansas, and I think, hairy on the exact details, we don't have a dash cam, but what seemed to happen is someone pulled out on him. Am I filming? Yeah, I'm filming, damn. Sometimes I forget to press record. Had someone pull out on him, and so he swerved to the left. He was coming towards us, hit the curb, and literally flipped over in front of us into our lane. But sort of just before it happened, and as it happened, like Taylor, I don't remember if it was before or as it happened, but Taylor changed lane from like the left to the right, and luckily like nothing happened to us. But that was an insane accident. The car literally flipped over in the air. It happened so fast. That's one of the bad ones we saw. We've seen another guy get T-boned really bad, and that was back in California a few years ago when we first met. And we just kept going because it was so busy. There were so many people there that I said to Taylor, let's just keep driving. There's too many people, we'll just make it worse. But the worst accident that I have ever seen, and I still get PTSD from it, happened on our way back from the Grand Canyon back to Kansas. And I don't think I've really told you about this. I haven't really told many people at all, because it's quite like a difficult thing to talk about for me. And we were heading, yeah, like it was in Colorado, and it was kind of getting late. It wasn't dark yet, and we're on one of those like single lane roads, whatever you call them, like one lane one way, one lane the other way. It's like a typical road. And I don't know, like, Americans don't really know how to drive on those, in my opinion, because they're like, there's not many of them around. So anyway, it's a slight incline. We're going uphill. It's got the like dashed lines, so you know it's safe to overtake if there's no one coming, right? But obviously we're coming from one direction. There's another car coming from the other direction. It was a big Ford F-250. I think it was a red one, if I remember correctly, pulling a big camper trailer, like a big one, right? And so I saw them, that's fine, they're coming, we're like moving towards them, no problem. But then I picked up on the fact that behind them, there was another Ford F-250, a black or might have been dark blue one, pulling one of those huge trailers. If you're American, you might know what I'm talking about. They always pull really big, like 2 or 3 axled trailers that are made out of like, you know, thick, like RHS steel, and they'll have like all sorts of stuff on them, because those are literally trucks, you know, like they look like utes kind of in Australia, but they're actually like trucks. So yeah, I saw him coming with that trailer behind this red one with the camper pull behind, and he was going really fast and slightly downhill, remember. And I thought, okay, like he's gonna overtake and he hasn't seen me, or he doesn't care. So I was already getting a little bit worried, because I figured he's gonna come out and hit us head on. So I'd already slowed right down, and I was already getting ready to pull off the road if I needed to. This was like quite a ways up, and I was watching him, and he was going fast, and he just kept getting closer and closer to the RV and the red Ford F-250. And I just realized, like, he's not going to overtake, like he's not going to change lanes, and he's not going to stop. And I think I yelled something at Taylor. I was driving, and literally then it happened. Like that big black, blue or black Ford F-250 with the trailer hit the back of the red Ford F-250 with the camper, and literally just turned the camper into confetti. And it happened in like slow motion for me. And for what I did is, just as it started happening, I was already going pretty slow, and I turned off the road and moved the whole car off into the dirt. And so, like, you know, Connie, luckily there was somewhere to pull off onto, just like grass and that. So, and it was pretty flat. So yeah, we like swerved off fairly slowly into the dirt and grass. And this thing, like, it happened quite far in front of us, but I saw it all, and because everything was moving so fast, it disintegrated the camper in front of us, but all the pieces of the camper, the pulled behind camper, moved past our car and past my eyes. Taylor didn't see it, and just like peppered Connie with a little bit of stuff, but not much. And it all just moved past like it was still a moving vehicle, but it was just in a million pieces. And then, you know, devastation happened behind us. Like, I didn't see everything, obviously. We'd pulled off by this point, and I told Taylor, like, call 911, and I quickly threw a t-shirt on and my shoes and like ran down to see what had happened. And then what I was confronted with was a car that I didn't recognize, and it took me a little while to realize at the time that there was 3 cars involved, not 2. So the 2 that I'd seen were coming towards us, but there was actually another car behind us, and that car actually took the worst of it. It was an SUV. I'm just worried about that music. It was an SUV, and like a sort of small one, and literally like it got hit head on by the leading red Ford F-250, because once that RV trailer it was pulling got destroyed, they, like, the back of them got hit, and I guess in a fright, or who knows even why it happened, they swerved, or they got pushed into our lane. Luckily we were a bit further up and it didn't happen to us, but this little SUV that must have been behind me just got totally annihilated. And unfortunately someone in that car died. One of the, I think it was a family, I don't want to go into too many details, but like it was a family that were traveling together, and the grandma passed away on scene, probably straight as from the accident. And yeah, so like Taylor was sort of at that car, And yeah, it took me a while to realize that. I went down to the other ones. I helped pull one of the ladies out of the red Ford F-250. Sorry, there was like the lady was a family as well. It was like a young family, a mother, a father, and 2 young kids. The kids were like distraught, as you can imagine, and so were the parents. They just asking me what happened. I said, well, you know, you got ran into, basically. And then after I sort of worked out that they were okay for the most part, we got them out of the car. The car was like smoking. I went down to the last car, which is the one that hit them all, the blue or black, whatever it was, Ford F-250, and those guys were fine. Like, I couldn't believe it. They caused all this mess, but they were both standing outside the car, just like, you know, probably in shock. And I think they're on the phone to their insurance or trying to get the police because they didn't have cell service. And yeah, like, they were okay. And I said, well, what the hell happened? But they didn't really say anything, and they weren't really. So I don't know if their brakes failed, or if they were asleep, there was 2 of them, or if they were going to overtake, then saw me and couldn't stop in time. But there were no skid marks. Like, there were no brake marks on the ground. So I don't know what the hell that was, but that was insane. So yeah, I couldn't, like, you know, I still see that happening a little bit. Luckily Taylor didn't see it, but that really scared me, eh? So yeah, anyway, luckily this was nothing like that, but that's like just an experience I've had that was just, oh man. If you guys have had any experiences like that you'd like to share, feel free to in the comments. You know, if you want to get it off your chest a bit. This is kind of what I'm doing now. I don't know, I honestly didn't start this video intending to talk about that, but I don't know, it's just been like hard for me to deal with a little bit, and yeah, it feels good to talk about it with you anyway. So anyway, we'll get it fixed, don't worry, and hopefully we get a new door, and then the door can open from the outside. That'll be a bonus. That would be great, but could have been worse. We're fine, we're happy, life is good, and we're just avoiding driving as much as we can for now. So yeah, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.